How you guys liking BronyCon so far? So, why are you guys going to a non-Brony panel?
We're all secretly furries.
Who here has watched Zootopia? Obviously, you guys all have, right? Who hasn't watched Zootopia? We'll be very interested to see how you guys enjoy this 1 minute out of context.
Liar! You liar!
It's like Sing, but better.
It's like Fox Spy. Or Agent Fox, that's what it's called.
Talk into the mics.
Testing. Alright. So is my co-host back there? He's the Hoofbeats cosplayer of the con, so you can see him in his fancy blue wig. What? Continue talking? Alright. I don't know. Say random stuff. Alabama, Alaska. I don't know. States. What? Okay, who's your favorite pony?
Discord's my favorite everything.
Okay.
Twilight.
Soren, I guess? I don't know. He's blue and male and cute looking, so I don't know.
That's sexist, but okay.
He's cute looking.
I mean, he's cute, but he's a dude, so
little
whatever.
tight spandex and stuff. Like, yeah.
Okay.
It's all ages found. Sorry.
We know where he's getting in the vendor hall.
Okay. Who here actually has gone to one of the Disney parks and actually seen Nick and Judy in outfit there?
No.
All right. Awesome. That's fun. Who here wants a Zootopia 2?
Me.
Aren't they making one?
Maybe it was strongly hinted at D23 when I was there.
Okay, fair enough.
I missed the Zootopia panel there, but the live action movie and animation movie.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Wow.
It was so long. It's actually LineCon. Like just to get into the convention center was a 3-hour wait.
Wow.
I went there and then I tried to go to the first Disney store, and it took 3 hours to get into convention center and then 4 hours to get into just a store.
Wow.
Just like in the vendor hall. So it's like good. And all the other stores are like 2-3 hours long.
I'm so excited for.
I did not see that scene, but one of my friends went there and they said it was like amazing with all the princesses, all the voice actresses for them. Even Snow White. Okay, that's not all of them. Yeah, that's
coming out next
year.
It's
coming out next summer, something.
All right. While Hoofbeats back there is getting ready with the mics and stuff, and you assume he would know how to hurry things along since he's the official.
Do you want to just do like a flash Q&A?
Yeah.
To kill time?
So what we're going to do first, we're going to play the minute since we legally can't have this minute in our podcast or YouTube without them yanking. We're going to play the minute first, and it's going to lead into our theme song. And our podcast, when you listen to it online, is going to start exactly at our theme song. And right after that, we'll do our introductions. We'll talk about the minute, and hopefully we'll go off tangent and talk about random stuff. That's fun.
That's my favorite thing.
That's my favorite thing. And we might have some special clips of me. I just went to California Adventure a week ago, and I got to see Nick and Judy. I'll show you the video, candid video of that encounter. Apparently, one of my friends was rowing camera when Nick saw me, and I was like, it was really nice. You guys will see that. All right. What con will you be at after this con? Any more cons this year?
I'm confirmed for Kinderlot KC, which is in Kansas City, and that's it so far.
You doing Crystal Fair again?
Crystal Fair is just the one day, so I'll probably do it next year.
Is it a one-day con?
Yeah, it's a one-day con this year.
We were both a community guest at Crystal Fair last year, and it was a small con, wasn't it?
It's so cool though.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's small, but it was like about 600.
Yeah, ish.
But it was like, because it's so small, it was kind of like a family reunion.
Yeah.
Everyone knew each other, and it was like just so fun to just casually hang out with people.
Mm.
And then, what cons are you doing after this?
I can't really say yet, but I'm working on a few. So okay. I can't say it because of contractual obligations. But
any furry cons?
No, not any furry cons.
Anime cons?
There might maybe be like a gaming convention in like the southeast. I might try to go to. I forgot what it's called though. Okay. But yeah,
I think I have San Japan Labor Day weekend after this, and let's see, Ciderfest. No, they already announced. I could say. What?
I need each of you to talk into your mic one at a time, very quick. Okay?
One at a time? All right, I'm talking. Am I good? Talking, okay.
Okay, next
All right, talking. Hello? Yes? Okay.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
And can you test mine, Choco?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So yeah, I think they already announced it last week, but I will be a community guest at Satterfest coming up, so see me there. I think it's before Nightmare Nights this year, which is strange.
It's right after.
Oh,
the
right
weekend after.
Okay, yeah, because it's normally they're really, really close by.
Yeah.
Mine's right there. I think
that's Race's camera. He'll probably be here soon.
Yeah, I think he might make a cameo appearance and show Creeper might. She said she has signings until 2:15 and she'll be on 2:45. So she said she might squeeze it,
Okay.
but she really wanted to come originally. Oh, I saw. Actually, I was at the at D23. I was at the game announcement panel, and I got to be one of the first people to see that. And they handed out like some special Kingdom Hearts posters for us.
Nice.
I'm surprised they were selling those they were handing out these. Everyone who went to the game panel, they got these free Kingdom Hearts posters, and I saw them going on eBay for $50 right afterwards. It's like, really? Yes, I guess they also gave us a code for a sword that I don't play Kingdom Hearts, so I don't know how to use the code. So. I don't think it's all Toy Story 3 actually.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Everyone's saying it's so sad and emotional.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's like a good kind of cry.
I hate to be that like on the few of minority that doesn't like Toy Story much. I like it, but it's not like my favorite movie.
But you haven't seen 3 yet.
I have not. That's
so
true.
you can't. Heretic.
Alright. So when we start, everyone first be quiet so we could allow everyone to take in that 1 minute of Zootopia. Alright, you ready to go?
1 moment. Okay, now we're good to go.
Alright, everyone, ready?
What happened, meter maid? Did someone steal a traffic cone? It wasn't me. Hey, Carrots, you're gonna wake the baby. I gotta get to work.
This is important, sir. I think your $10 worth of popsicles can wait.
Ha! I make $200 a day, Fluff. 365 days a year since I was 12. And time is money. Hop along.
Please just look at the picture. You sold Mr. Otterton a popsicle, right? Do you know him?
I know everybody. And I also know that somewhere there's a toy store missing a stuffed animal. So why don't you get back to your box?
Fine. Then we'll have to do this the hard way.
Did you just boot my stroller?
Nicholas Wilde, you are under arrest.
For what? Hurting your feelings?
Felony tax evasion. Yeah, $200 a day, 365 days a year. Since you were 12, that's 2 decades times 20, which is 1,460,000, I think. I mean, I am just a dumb bunny, but we are good at multiplying it.
All right, here we go. All levels at once. Slap at your own. Doesn't matter. Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to It Is your first time joining us, welcome to Zootopia Minute, the minute-by-minute podcast where we review, criticize, and analyze the hit award-winning film of 2016, Zootopia. And we are very glad to be here for the first live episode we have ever done at BronyCon. How's everybody doing? Woo! Hello, Baltimore! Good morning, Baltimore. Good 2 p.m. anyway. All right, so we'll get started right away. My name is Hoofbeats. And here to my left is my lovely co-host.
Con artist. I'm vending at this con and I'm an artist. I'm a con artist. Just like Nick.
Oh, I get it. I see. Yes, and we are also joined by two wonderful special guests. So how about starting on my left? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. I love Kim Possible a lot. I review.
But what's your name?
That Kim Possible is my legal name. But no, okay. So I usually review and analyze the My Little Pony show for people who don't watch the Pony show. I don't know why you're here, but anyway, and do specials and all sorts of fun animations and stuff like that. So.
All right.
All right.
Am I right?
And I am Paleo Steno, and I do like a bunch of different stuff on my channel. I've mainly been focusing on animated movie reviews. I used to do a lot of pony stuff, and that's why I've always been come to the con like since 2012. So, yeah, I come here and like see friends and stuff and just hang out. So, yeah.
Cons are good. All right, well, the minute that we all just watched was minute 35 of our film.
And it's the best minute ever!
Woo! Hi, Ace.
There's Race.
AC
Yes.
Race Fest, everybody in the back.
How's it going? Welcome.
I look like no Earth
So-
pony.
so Race
Actually,
here-
I am an Earth. Anyways.
Race here actually was the first guest we had for any live episode back when we did it at Everfree Northwest.
Hi guys. Everyone's just like,
Everyone's
Cool.
like,
That guy.
Get on with it!
They were so excited when they saw on the schedule that I wasn't part of this. And now they're like, all right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Whatever.
to draw you into the title card.
Great. Just like do it in pencil. Like it'll just.
A little like smiley face in the right corner.
So
with
what
you.
brings you here? So
So-
originally he was not supposed. He was had the conflicting schedule issue.
Yeah, so a quick little story. So what ended up happening was there's a Kathy Westluck panel happening next door, and it's
Please don't go.
Yeah, everyone gets out. They're like, sweet! And that panel, they asked if we could host it, and it wasn't until about last night or so where we were told, oh, actually, she's probably going to, run the panel for the most part. She's kind of going to carry it herself, and we're like, oh. So what you're saying is there might be some escape room for me. So Saber is right now on that side of things, and I snuck in to the Zootopia panel.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Nice to be able to delegate.
yeah, no, I'm excited, guys. It was fun at Everfree Northwest, and it's good to join you guys up here again.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Are we looking at this again?
Yeah, we're going to talk about while it's playing in the background.
Sure. All right. So again, guys, this was minute 35 of the film. So that is from 35:00 to 35:59 if you're following along in the movie. And what we see is that Judy has caught up here with Nick, who is pushing Finnick around in the stroller, and she wants to ask some questions about the case of the missing otter. Remember, Emmett Otterton is missing, and we need to find out what happened. She asks about it. He does not really take up too kindly. She boots the stroller, I love that, and places him under arrest for felony tax evasion. So a lot good interesting
And
stuff
that
that's
look
happened
on
here.
his face is also my look. The first time I was vending at a convention, I made a good number of money, and then all of a sudden they said, hey, the IRS needs you to collect your tax. I'm like, wait, you have to pay taxes on money you make at con? So there we go.
Taxation is theft.
That's when Nick became my soulmate. I was like, yes, I was in that situation many times before, and I had that exact face. So,
It's the face we all make when we get our taxes. It's like, whoa.
I mean, that's why we're both con artists. All right, so this is actually one of my favorite moments, not just because, well, it's actually all because of that moment with Nick. Watching this movie, I really, in the movie theaters for the first time, I was identifying with Judy, like I said, for her police academy. It was very similar to my time in military academy. But it wasn't until that scene where Judy basically hustles Nick, says, yeah, you're tax evasion, and Nick's face, I was like, yes, this is my favorite movie of 2016, and probably one of my favorite movies of all time. And that scene just really sold it for me. So how about you? When was the first time you saw this?
First saw this part of the movie. If I'm not mistaken, it was the first time I saw the movie. I was planning on skipping this minute.
You aren't watching it minute by minute like us?
It's a great scene though. We've all sort of seen. This is probably one of the most like cut out and put on YouTube scenes in the movie. I think. I think we've all seen different versions of it. Do you guys remember?
I've seen it in like so many different YouTube poops.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that meme like from last year with Roundabout, the Yes song, where it was from like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, the to be continued thing? There was one of those that had it like right at felony tax evasion. So in our story here, this is a bit important because this is really Judy's first chance to get going into investigating this missing otter. Context, she has literally staked her whole career on this. If she does not find the missing otter within 48 hours,
48 hours,
then she agreed with Chief Buy One Get One, Chief Bogo, to resign from the police department. So there's a lot riding on this.
So we'll ask our guest panelists what they thought about this minute, and then hopefully it'll lead off into some interesting tangents.
Yeah.
So we'll start off on my left. So, KP, what do you think about this specific minute?
I mean, what else has already been said, because I mean, the way Nick's eyes pop up as soon as he realizes how much in trouble he is, and it's interesting to see, because this is also, right before this is also the first time we see or hear, what's the character that's in the basket?
Finnick.
Okay.
So we don't know his name at this minute, so spoilers for people following along.
Yeah. Well, he's a fennec fox.
Yes.
It makes sense.
So it's a great contradiction to the act that he was playing to what we actually know, and he's driving this van, but it's not in the minute, so I'm going to stop talking about it. I do like the background elements. You can still see cars moving and stuff like that in the shot. And you can also see that when you look up at Nick, that the camera is tilted a little bit up, so you're kind of emphasizing with Judy a little bit as far as how tall Nick is compared to her and how much he's kind of in control of the situation, and Judy isn't until the table is turning. Then you'll see the camera even out. I have a film degree. This is what I use it for. But besides that, I just think it's funny, and it really shows Judy kind of coming into her own, especially with how much Nick gives her crap for. So
yeah, and you bring up camera work. That's something we've taken a look at in previous minutes of this movie, where you can see, and we say camera. Obviously, there is no literal camera. We're in a 3D computer-generated environment.
What?
But guys,
not real?
I hate to break it to you, but this is a story. It's not real.
then who do I mean at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Look, it's not like ponies. I mean, ponies are obviously real, but this is different. But that's a good point. Camera work can convey a lot into the characters' emotions and what they're feeling. In one of the previous minutes, we saw her interaction with Chief Bogo, where Chief Bogo is so much larger an animal than Judy is, than Mrs. Otterton is, and he's just sort of looming over them with a camera down below so that it seems, it's eye level with Judy and Mrs. Otterton. From that perspective, Bogo's huge, and it went along with the theme that he's sort of taking on an antagonistic role for this specific scene. He's gonna loom over it and watch over and, cause problems.
I will add too, Bogo's very deep voice is also kind of intimidating until you kind of hear him lighting up with the whole gazelle app thing, which is cute. So it's you can kind of see the play of character as the movie, they change roles obviously, so it's interesting.
Yep, Idris Elba played that character. And very well, I think. Anything else?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I noticed. First, when Judy boosts the stroller, like the mentioning the camera and everything, like it zooms in on Nick's face, and it happens again later in the movie where there's these feats of Judy's speed where she can do stuff really fast, but you don't see it because the camera's not on her. And I thought that was clever, just so we don't see like just a flash of like gray doing something.
Yeah, we don't even see whatever that device is beforehand. It just kind of appears right there. It wasn't on her hip. It wasn't on her cart.
Yeah.
She has Mary Poppins pockets or something.
Yeah. Or it's like Dragon Ball with the capsule corpse stuff. You just throw it.
You just add water and bam.
Instant stroller boot.
Yeah, and another thing is, thanks to my friend Hirasashi in the audience, he downloaded like the Japanese dub of the movie, and he said apparently that there's not really a word for stroller, and they call it a baby car. They're like, did you boot my baby car?
How dare you, my small vehicle? I mean, you can see actually as Judy is pulling up in her little traffic enforcement car, there's a mouse car behind that one that's trying to like honk on the horn to get around it. And that's something we've talked about too, is on a road with all these different animals, you have different sized cars. How is it at all safe to have a mouse car on the same road?
Yeah, that's why the
elephant car.
That's why Rodentia is like the area where they have to like stay at.
Yeah. We had a long talk about Rodentia at Everfree.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. You know, it's funny talking about scale and everything, and like the size of Bogo, for example, how he towers over Judy. I just want y'all to realize this. I have met Judy Hopps at Disneyland, and she's actually like eye level with me. So I want you to envision how big Bogo actually is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, think about that. No, what's
Very frightening.
I think the thing that always stood out for me from this whole scene was, first off, this was another great example of how much this movie thrived on dialogue. Is that they didn't just need gags or you know, oh, we need loud noises and stuff happening and flashing lights. It's like, no, this is like a scene where they sit down. It's a very intelligent scene. I mean, they're talking about, you know, we're multiplying, tax evasion, all this stuff. And what's incredible to me about that is like, it's not something that they're like, oh, the 5-year-olds are going to love this.
Yeah.
It was a good sign of like, no, this is for the whole family.
I knew that like when they mentioned like an actuary in the beginning of the movie, like they're gonna have like some adult humor in there.
But one of my favorite jokes is in this bit, and it's right at the end where she goes, "We are good at multiplying," and I'm just like, oh.
I didn't catch that joke until we watched this minute like a few days ago to first get a grasp of it. I'm just a dumb bunny, but we are good at multiplying.
Yeah. I mean, I only saw it a few times in theaters, so I probably missed it.
Only about 30.
Only about 30 times in theaters, so.
Literally.
Yeah. I don't have any money left, guys.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
And I guess for two special guests who, since we already asked you the first time you saw it in theaters, I guess we'll ask KP, what was the first time you saw it in theaters and your experience with Zootopia?
I actually went with my parents, and I'm very much into animation in general. I always like to study the industry because that's what I want to get involved with if I can get a job. So it's interesting for me to see how the industry develops, so I'm always going to these animated movies premieres when I hear good things about it. And they were very hesitant about going because it's like, it's another cartoon, it's for kids, and I'm just like grinding my brain, and I'm just like, no, just go. It's art. It's like art at the purest form. And my dad walked out, and I think the scene with the Godfather parody kind of got to him. And that was like, you know what? That was pretty good. And then a couple months later, he actually bought it again to rent on DVD because he liked it so much. And I'm like, that's how you do it right. So it was a nice experience to see. Like, I obviously love the movie, but to see it opening up people who normally wouldn't be into the genre to begin with. So
yeah. So that makes me wonder, can we get a raise of hands for how many of you guys actually saw it in theaters? Zootopia. So a few people have raised their hands.
most of them.
Yeah. Did anyone go, and in the theater with you, was anyone in a fursuit? One person.
Wow.
Excellent. We had heard that had happened, like when the movie premiered, there were like fursuiter
Disney
meetups.
encouraged it.
Yeah, which is great. First of all.
Which is
We
funny.
know who we made this for.
Yeah. It's funny because when Zootopia was first released, the first weekend it was released, it was the same weekend as Texas Furry Fiesta, which was when I was living in Texas.
I thought you were going to say Texas Furry Massacre.
You're still living in Texas.
Yeah, I guess I'm still living in Texas.
The Texas
Those were dark
Chainsaw
times.
Furry
But
Massacre.
I'm surprised with how many furries were actually in the theaters, and when the wolves were howling, they were howling. So it's kind of weird. All right, and Paleo, how about your first experience?
So I see movies quite a lot. If you look at my channel, I have like a bunch of different movie reviews, and I see them with my dad. Usually, like if it's something that I'm excited to see, I'll see it on the premiere night, like the night before release. So I went to go see it with him, and I hadn't really seen anything of Zootopia other than like the first trailer, I think. So like everything in the movie like really surprised me with how good it was. And I like when I go into a movie and I barely know anything about it, because that way I can like have a really fresh experience. And this movie just like really surprised me, and like it was definitely my favorite of 2016.
Yeah, same probably.
Okay, so I just came back from D23 Expo, if you guys didn't know, and there were some hints that they might be making Zootopia 2. So that might be an interesting thing to talk about.
It's not enough. I need like 3 more.
So so if you guys
I need confirmation.
If you guys have been following in previous minutes, I think we kind of speculated what we want Zootopia 2 to be, and you could do a natural sequel, but the original idea I was liking was if you look at not Miyazaki, Tezuka, who does Astro Boy and a lot of his other animated films. If you notice, he reuses the same characters but in different roles for all his different shows and movies. And since if you guys have been following the production of Zootopia, the plot has been rewritten so many times. Originally a spy movie. Then there was the Wild Times in the period where the predators were wearing shock collars, and there's been at least 5 different drafts for Zootopia, which were vastly different. So for a sequel, for me, I would have liked that. Like this story would naturally and they reuse the exact same characters, but then in a different world. Or
Having
different
alternate
context.
realities like in Bioshock.
Yeah, so it would be like kind of like American Horror Story, where you
Furry
reuse the same
Bioshock.
actors and actresses, but each season it's a
Biofur.
completely different story, but with the same actors. I think that might have been a great way to do it, but I'm sure they'll probably just do a natural sequel.
Well,
but-
that's also what's so useful about the fact that the title of this film is just a place name. Nothing about it implies what the story is going to be. Like you
Yeah.
were saying, it was originally going to be a spy movie, but you wouldn't guess that from the name Zootopia. You just know it has something to do with animals. So they're able to have a bit of freedom there, for sure.
We're going to find out that they're actually just really clever and knew that Zootopia was going to be a success. So what they did was they already started giving hints to what the future sequels are going to have. And that way everyone's like, oh, that would have been cool to see. And then the next movie was like, oh, now there's shock collars. That's just like in that part. It's like, oh.
I would like to actually see them bring them in.
It would be intense.
Guest writer George Orwell.
From the grave.
So, any speculations from our guest panelists? So.
I think it's already been said, but Judy and Nick kind of figuring out if they like each other and
Yeah.
shipping, and I'm a horrible person. But that's really, I think that's a natural, like if they weren't animals, that's a natural way to take the relationship, and I think it's going to open a new topic about like how we had a kind of race analog during this movie. There might be an interracial marriage kind of thing in the next movie, so it might be interesting to explore that from the safe space of talking animals. So
Yeah.
The beautiful part about it too is that it covers so like it's not just like it's not like there's a parallel of Zootopia saying, well, this type of animal is this race
demographic?
Yeah, it's actually just in general, like how we've talked about how this movie doesn't hit about, oh, it's bad for these people to do this. It's just like, no, stereotypes in general.
It's just saying like prejudice is bad.
Yeah.
So then like it covers a whole spectrum of things when
Yeah.
it comes to relationships that I'm curious, can I ask the audience something, guys?
Go ahead.
By a raise of hands, how many people would like to see Judy and Nick be a romantic couple in the future sequel? That means yes. It depends means yes.
For those of you,
More than half.
for those of you at home, that was the majority of the
Yeah.
panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I trust the
So
writers.
it's unanimous. Everybody rose their hand.
In fact, you don't even have to raise your hands. I know everyone
Animalist.
wants. No, but because I know that there's people who are like, no, they could just be friends. But I disagree. So.
Well, that brings up a good point too. I think in all media, there's a tendency. I mean, we love shipping, right? That's like a huge thing in fandom. But sometimes people will see something that, when you really look at it, nothing more is implied other than some sort of platonic bond. But it's more fun to sort of view it as a romantic thing.
Well, all I'll say is that I know the last time that Saber and I were having a very deep conversation, and I put my hand on his arm like this. Well, we see what happened. So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. They were in the same frame in the background for like 3 seconds. 3 whole seconds they were in the same background shot.
Oh gosh.
That's how background pony shipping works.
Yeah. It is. It's the thing. KP, I think you mentioned earlier some of the interesting things that happen in this scene in regards to the fact that we're bringing up I don't know, was it you? Someone said something about dialogue that may have been...
That was Race.
Sorry, yes.
Talking.
Well,
We just look so alike.
Freaking and yeah.
I know.
We're actually twins, but you just didn't know
Same
that.
colored hair just throws me way off, and I can't even do that. So, but when we're talking about the dialogue here, and we were thinking in the last minute, or one of these most recent minutes, we hear that Judy gets this thin case file, right? The whole case file on the missing otter is like one piece of paper, just the front of it with a photograph paper clipped to it. And a lot of this lucky break here is this photograph. It's how we're able to even figure out that Emmett Otterton is even remotely connected to Nick whatsoever, right? And we overhear that Clawhauser says, you know what, you're even not in the system, so you're not in our computers. You're not going to have any resources whatsoever. But pay attention, and we can maybe look at it again. When Judy talks about, hold up, I think you can wait. You know, the $10 you're going to be making is worth this wait. And she has this expression on her face, kind of like, you know, it's hard to emulate. There it is, right there. You see that face? And it makes you think, I wonder if she's choosing to ask this question specifically to get a bit of information out of Nick.
100%. It's that, like, you know, there's so many examples you can use for this, but for this, it's definitely Judy basically going, you have pride, and I'm about to like pop that pride, and
it's
that
bait.
So she was, I mean, they're both pretty sly, so she could be a fox.
That's why they're meant for each other.
Of course.
Exactly.
By the way, another thing we always like to bring up is just use of puns in this movie, animal puns, and also just interesting things done with decor. You can see here the bus in the background has these nice little tiger or zebra stripes, and so do the traffic cones. I didn't see the traffic cones at first.
Yeah, I didn't notice the
a
traffic
good call.
cones having that.
But that's pretty cool. And then
I keep recognizing like signs in the background every time I watch this.
yeah, even like the crosswalk here is like stripedy.
Find new things every day, stuff. So every rewatch, actually, we noticed that we find like these little puns we missed the first
Yeah,
time.
every
It's
time we
surprising.
rewatch it, there's something new that we didn't notice. Every
It's a-
scene is
it's a-
so dense. There's so much.
I wonder
It's a very rewatchable movie.
if they have like a freeway system, and I could just imagine like them talking about a SIG alert on the freeway, like, hey guys, there's a 5-car pileup, but don't worry, they were all mouse cars, so we just picked them up and moved them.
Oh. You know, by biomass, it was only worth like one elephant. So
Don't worry, we just
No
picked them
big
up.
deal.
They were fine. I'm just saying the cleanup didn't take very long.
that's true.
I think
Collision
everyone
speed-
assumed that I meant they got like flattened or something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So in the last minute, I talked about I went to California Adventure, and I actually finally got to meet my fox husband, Nick Wilde. So as promised, I am going to show the candid clip of me meeting Nick. Apparently, how this got started, I went to California Adventure. That was like the highlight of the trip. It was for D23 Expo. I wanted to meet Nick, and they said, sorry, line's closed. You can't talk to him. You have to wait 2 hours before you see him again. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to have a chance to meet Nick, but I'm going to try to get some pictures taken of him. My friend was rolling the camera because Nick and Judy actually were in a little fight because apparently Chip from Chippendales walked in and started flirting with Judy. And that got Nick very
confirmed now.
flustered.
For anyone that knows me, this is like a really weird crossover.
It's also great when you. Here we go. I love this.
this is after their fight. So I'm close to the corner. You can see me in my little tie. And see, Nick is pointing at me now. They tell me to come up, and the handler is just like, well, I go ahead and they put it to you.
He's like, I don't care. You're coming in here. You're me. This is fantastic.
Oh, wow. Naturally, you can see like a head. You can see them. Show the popsicle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually good to work because I'm actually getting my popsicle.
Raise your hand in that shit bag.
So, and you can see at this moment, I asked, after he hugged, I asked, will you marry me? And he shakes his head no, I'm joking. I asked him to sign my popsicle and he said he couldn't sign.
I mean, it's probably hard to sign.
I walk out.
There he goes.
And right after, I went to, the downtown Disney store, and they gave me a congratulations, you're engaged button to wear. No, but that was a fantastic experience, and afterwards, I actually did wait the 2 hours to see Nick again. I drew him a picture saying thank you, and yeah, he was very, very excited to see me again. And actually, the person who blocked me initially saying, oh, you can't meet Nick because it's closed off, he came and told me, yeah, you know, Nick really, really enjoys you, and we're going to hang this up in the staff room, the picture. And so that was actually the highlight of my trip. And I got to see a lot of cool panels, exclusive panels at D23 Expo. But it was actually meeting Nick in person that was really the highlight.
In Fox.
So, in Fox.
Yeah, in Fox.
So in
persona.
I've also had the pleasure of meeting these two at DCA, and they're awesome because like there's something about the characters at the Disney parks that they know they're very good in character. And the last time I went out there, I've seen them once or twice or 25 times a day. And they actually, Nick made it clear that he remembered who I was from a video. The first time I met them, I put up the video of it. And he actually was referencing to the cast members saying, like, he's pointing at me, then he's doing this and pointing at the side of the park that I filmed that on. And I'm just like, this is cool. Because, like, now it's like we know them. Yeah. We know them. Like,
no. You're right, because I bumped into that Nick. I didn't know if it was the same Nick, but I bumped into him 3 other times afterwards, and he recognized me. He made motions that he knew that I recognized him. He pointed to his handler, and the handler actually told me, yeah, he really appreciates you keep on showing up. Though one of the other cast members was like, you aren't stalking Nick, are you? I'm just like, no.
I like how they have handlers like at a zoo.
I don't know what it's called. When
no, they're like bouncers, man.
Have you fursuits and is it a handler? Yeah,
it is. If you have ever been to a con with a friend who's in a fursuit, they need someone else with them, like at all times. And they just can't get around.
So like a zoo.
Well,
that's actually what the break room at FurryCons is called, a zoo. Yeah, no, but you're right about them being in character too. They're really, really good. It's the Disney magic. When I was at Disney World, I didn't really care too much about meeting the characters, but when I was at California Adventure, I actually met Nick. Like you saw in the video, I was like acting all giddy and like I was being a dork.
Were you nervous?
I was.
Yeah.
No, because like I said, the line was closed and I couldn't meet him, but he saw me wearing my little outfit and he like wanted me to come up and say hi to him. And that entire time, I thought I was talking to the actual Nick.
You were. That was Nick.
And actually, it got a little weird because the second time I met him, he like hugged me very close, and he like pressed his muzzle against me, and I heard kissing sounds from inside the mask.
It's that.
It's so weird.
Yeah, but
I get those from Judy.
But I got to see. Actually, it's interesting the suit. So for most fursuits, you could the eye holes are really out of the actual eyes, or they're in the mouth. But I think for the Nick fursuit, if you look really close, the eye holes are actually in the nose, because if you look at the nose, it's made out of a mesh, and every time they look directly at something I'm holding, it's always the nose pointing. So I just thought it was an interesting design to use the nose.
Only I can have eye holes.
I'm imagining you like, I see you in there, Nick. Hello.
I want to know what you really look like.
I gave him my Twitter.
It's just Nick Wilde in a Nick Wilde fursuit.
With a smaller, like, homunculus Nick inside his head.
All right. Well, have you two been to any of the parks and got to meet Nick and Judy? Or?
No, I haven't. I don't live close to a Disney park, so it's not like you'd be like, let me just go walk down the street. So, no, I haven't been to Disney in like at least since high school. So I've saw Kim Possible one time, but I don't think that's relevant to this panel. So, well, that.
You got to dance with
the Shake It Move It parade. That's actually my first experience with Nick. When I was at Magic Kingdom for my first time, I was also wearing my Nick Wilde hat. And when in the Shake It Move It parade, the MC actually saw me and started pointing at me. He was on the same float as Nick. And he's like, "Hey, Nick, it's your biggest fan right there." And he started like waving towards me. And that was also a very nice experience.
I have a quick little story for this too. Last year at BronyCon, Saber and I were hosting a panel with Gian Barrow. And at some point, I think she asked like favorite shippings or whatever, and I quickly said Nick and Judy, to which she thought I said naked Judy, and she's sitting up there like, well, this just got weird, and I'm like, what? And she's like, naked rabbit. I'm like, no.
Well, it makes that clip interesting. You were describing the little thing earlier before you showed up where Chip and/or Dale, like one of the other Disney characters, was up there flirting with Judy.
He's not wearing pants.
Yeah, no, those characters don't wear clothes. So
no wonder she was excited.
A little out of place in the Zootopia universe.
I'm surprised that you weren't. I'm surprised you weren't there to see that, because that would have been great.
I would have freaked out. So
it makes me
it's
wonder.
On YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, that's the thing is I found a clip of that happening on YouTube, and it was like a recently uploaded thing. So it was either the time you're describing, or it's a staged thing that they do a couple of times.
It might be staged, or it might, because the clip you showed me looked exactly like the time I was there. And if it was true, if the camera just zoomed like just to the left, I would be standing there. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. And you were thinking about how this is. Because they're actually cast members portraying these characters, you're saying that that's a canon ship now.
Yes.
So you actually
so
like
conflicted.
Ship.
It's like an inter-office relationship in the back room. All these people. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, but see, Chip was meant to be with Gadget.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Yeah, John, you know what I'm talking about.
It is.
All right, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this particular minute of the film has been, sort of an interesting exposition into the beginning of Judy's true investigation. This is where finally I think we found the plot in the movie, and so we have to sort of wait and see what happens. Just one other thing that I wanted to point out, because I pointed it out to you and it took you ages to understand what I was trying to say, but it's Nick and Finnick, right? And Nick is pushing Finnick in this stroller. Our context is that he's in the stroller because he's pretending to be a baby so that they can get popsicles for free or for cheap, right? Right now, it looks kind of like they're just minding their own business. Like they're not in the middle of a con. It's just free time at the moment. So Nick is pushing Finnick in a stroller, an adult fox, in their free time.
Yeah, and he was like sleeping.
What? Did he lose a bet or
Yeah, he does indicate that they're heading to or from somewhere, but maybe it's just the fact that they know if they're seen anywhere. Like, you have to create that image almost. Yeah. Or it's, I don't know, I don't want to go any further.
Because their main mode of transportation is that big van. So if they pulled up in that van to like the elephant shop and they got out and then used the cart, then they'll look suspicious. They have to walk a few blocks, park the van off-site, and then wheel it, or else people will be suspicious. So,
but at the very least, you gotta imagine that Finnick doesn't mind being pushed around. Like zero work for him.
Yeah, I think the last minute, and some of our furry listeners actually brought it up. It was reminiscent of what's called diaper furs, which is
God.
I did not know.
Oh my God!
About, but yeah, it's.
Bye, Saber.
And I was like, okay, that's weird.
Have you guys heard about what happened in Seattle?
I live there.
What happened?
I mean, no, I don't.
Oh, tell us.
No,
Equestria.
it was the Rainforest convention.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should get into it.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that.
Family-friendly panel.
We're not gonna get into that, but you can look it up. You can look
You
it up.
keep working that diaper, big guy.
Yeah. Well,
On that note,
all right.
we have
What he says.
We have about 10 minutes to go. So what we're gonna do is, would you guys be interested in a little Q&A? Yeah. Okay. So do we have a mic? That mic is free, but will it like reach if someone stands it down there?
the staff might.
They got him.
Got it.
The guy holds the chalice.
We have about 10 minutes, and we still want to do a drawing for the prizes.
Yeah.
Free
So we're trying
stuff.
to leave the last 5 minutes for prizes.
I think the staff is
So-
coming down.
So we'll probably
Thanks, staff.
answer about 3 to 5 questions at most.
All
So
right.
if anyone's interested,
Make a line.
Just start lining up if you have any questions.
Down this aisle here.
There's a guy with the purple shirt. Everybody line up behind him.
Yep. So questions, take the line.
One question. Good job.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Is it
All right, we got a
Zootopia
few.
themed or just general?
Don't be shy.
General, but keep it on topic too, I guess.
All right.
Try to keep
Yeah.
on topic to Zootopia.
Hello, Thomas. Big fan of all of you. So I guess it's more of an observation than an actual question, but I noticed that in general the movie is like very mature in tone. Like it doesn't really pander to its younger audience, and y'all know what show don't tell is, right? In regards to
Yeah.
well, they're really good at that, just, throughout the entire movie. But there are a number of instances where they'll just stop and just like directly say something for like no good reason. Like the instance earlier in when Judy gets the case file and she's looking at the picture, she just, as soon as you see the popsicle, you can immediately connect the dots. But they take like an extra 5 seconds to have her go, get your popsicles. And then later with the night howl on the Hops farm, when Gideon reveals the name of the flowers, it's like that whole 10 seconds where we already know that they're night howlers, but then Judy just has to it just seems very conflicting. Like the only reason I can think that they did that is to I don't know, get the 5-year-olds to understand.
It is a kids movie.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Yeah, I
disagree because I feel like what we're seeing in both of those scenarios, as the lights shut off to emphasize what I'm trying to say, is that those are moments of realization for her.
Yeah.
So she's not necessarily
Yeah.
saying it to somebody, but I know
Yeah.
I'll have.
And
moments.
also with the popsicle thing, it's part of the transition to the next scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of her just being like, bam. And
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll say things out loud every now and then. Though I talk to myself a lot, so I'm probably not a good example. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that it could just be her moment of realization that it's kind of that excitement of I know where this is.
Show don't tell is a good rule, but it shouldn't apply to every single thing or every single line of dialogue.
I will say too, it's a small case of dramatic irony. If you guys don't know what it means we know something that the character doesn't. So it's not as extreme pace where there's big plot elements, but it's just something where it gives us as the audience a way to be like, oh yeah, before the character realizes, oh yeah. So.
Well, good observation, nonetheless.
Yeah, thank you very much. Next.
Hey, did you have anything planned for the theme song and reviewing panel earlier today?
The theme song that the one we played at the beginning.
No, the panel earlier.
What
You were at
panel?
it. You were at the theme song panel earlier today.
And what about it? What's your
Do you have any theme songs planned to talk about? You never got dressed, I thought.
I didn't really have anything to talk about. I was there just to moderate that one. It was really their panel, Gabe and Daniel.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, maybe I would add this song. It's not a theme song, but try everything.
I thought it was a theme song to the podcast.
Sure, perfect.
So if we've got Nick Wilde as your waifu, and we've got Judy Hopps as your waifu, in order to make that canon, would we have to break the ship, or is this like a polyamorous thing that we'd have to go through?
It's polyanimalous.
Nothing shall stand in between Judy and Nick. Nothing.
You gotta share. You gotta care.
Wow.
Besides, didn't you say? What I liked was how you got the engaged pin after Nick. Like you're like, "Will you marry me?" And Nick's like, "No," and you're like, "Too bad."
Too bad.
Yep.
We're engaged now.
What? Hello.
Hi.
This is just a question for AC Race Best. I have the question: what have you kept going to the theater? Was it the quality of the movie, so you've went 30 times into it, or was it that you've yourself became a meme or something?
He really went.
No,
he
I
really
wasn't-
went 50 times.
I wasn't going for like the laugh factor of it because I like money, and that would have been to me a waste of money to just do it for that. For me, it was such an experience to watch this movie in theaters. I felt like I was part of the world when I would go. Like you could just like sit there and be like, "Man, this is awesome."
How many times did you see it in IMAX?
I think technically twice.
Technically twice. What does
Technically
that
twice.
mean?
It wasn't like an official
One eye closed one
IMAX
time.
viewing.
Oh.
So I missed my opportunity to see it in like I think true IMAX at my theater because I didn't realize how much I was gonna like this movie. So it was out of IMAX before.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh crap.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it was part of just like. It was. I mean, everything about this movie I love. The quality, the voice acting, the animation. It just the thought that's put into it. Some of my viewings I would just watch one character. I would just focus on Judy, or I would just focus on Nick. And there were little like quirks or like moments that I'm like I never noticed that little like movement, or that Judy did this, or that Nick made like this kind of eye roll or something. And I felt like every time I went, I kid you not, and maybe I'm just very unobservant, but in those 30 viewings, I feel like every time I went, I saw something new. So it was just a movie that I loved seeing in theaters, and I wanted to do it as often as I could.
Good excuse. I mean, answer, but yeah.
Excuse.
Whatever floats your boat.
I
man.
liked watching Judy on the
Yeah.
big
All right. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to make this one the last one, just because we're getting angry eyes from across the room. Thank you, though.
He's like, it's not me.
It's actually pretty funny how you mentioned the part where she said she was good at, or how bunnies are good at multiplying. Have you guys noticed, like, early in the movie, like in the beginning, as she gets on the train to leave Zootopia, the whole thing just multiplies.
The population sign counts
it
up.
just keeps going up, like, one by one. Like, it just keeps on.
Yeah, so they've made that joke a few times, but I never
Yeah.
caught that one.
I want to be a rabbit in Zootopia.
I will say this.
Demand
that,
is high.
I never noticed the traffic cone things with the zebra.
Yeah, it
on
took us a while before we
actually,
noticed that.
that's a first for me. But the whole rabbit multiplying thing,
Yeah.
like that's like one of the oldest jokes in the book from what I've read.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying, Ray. Every time there's something new.
Yeah.
Like you keep noticing new stuff. Okay, so we have a drawing.
You have the raffle? All right, so to keep things speedy, I'm going to announce some numbers. And when your number is called, just start lining up over there, and we'll give you these posters at the end of the panel. And if you want to buy a poster and then win one, we are selling them for $5 at my booth. It's booth 312 in the BronyCon vendor hall, so feel free to check it out.
And we will sign
All
the
right.
poster. as
So
well.
the first number was 9, and then 26, 39.
Yes.
30.
Hey.
18. 36. And 32. So if your number was called, just line up there and we will hand you the posters.
Excellent.
And, oh. All right, we'll do one more then.
One more.
33.
Hey,
Okay.
perfect.
And so before we close off, we'd like to thank our special guests for joining us for this panel. So, do you guys have anything to say before we close out? We want to, I guess, give our guests a chance to plug themselves so you can follow them on
Oh,
their
okay. I
social
thought
media.
I was gonna move that to like a thank you for having me, but I can plug stuff too. I have a YouTube channel. I love Composite a lot. I usually do pony reviews, but if you're into that, that's cool, and I'm probably gonna expand soon. So come for the cartoon analysis, yay!
All right. I have a channel called Paleosteno, and I do a bunch of videos mainly on animated movie reviews. And I also do a podcast with my friends Saberspark and Hirasashi and Tommy Oliver. And it's called POS Podcast. We do it like every other Monday. It's not as good as this one, so but still, come out and see it. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. And whoever this guy is.
Whoever I am. I'm AC Racebest, and also have a YouTube channel, and I do a lot of pony videos, a lot of random videos, but I also have Zootopia videos, and I have a new one coming out soon called AC Racebest Goes to the Zootopia.
I get it.
I get to meet the actors in real life.
Ooh.
Well,
What, the actual like fox and bunny?
yeah. An elephant, and they don't talk a lot, but they
I mean, I got really excited there, and then I was like, oh, okay.
The real actors, animals.
All right, very cool. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Yeah, so big thanks again to everyone here for joining us. This has been Zootopia Minute. This is a podcast that we do as often as we can, pretty much. You can find us on YouTube. We'll have a link up there. We're on YouTube. That's our main distribution. You can also follow us on Twitter. It's at Zootopia Minute. And if you have anything you'd like to tell us about anything at all, you can also email us at zootopiaminute@gmail.com. But once again, we would love to give a great thank you to everyone here for attending. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Enjoy the rest of your PonyCon.